Hello, hello, hello. It's been 2 weeks since we last heard from Norm Winski. Today is February 15th, and I'm anxious to see what he has to say. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I think I was last on your show on the 20th of January, and we're going to quickly review what happened there. We had two weekend windows for change in trend. We had the 20th AC, if you see on my notes there, after the close, so that bumps us into the weekend and into the next trading day, which would be Monday the 23rd. Over that weekend, we had a new moon in the sign of Aquarius at perigee. Perigee is when it's at its closest. That only occurs, you might get one or two instances of that every 14 months. So that's kind of a rare event. We had one back in January. We're going to have one this month, which I'll be talking about in a few minutes. So anytime we have a new moon, new moon is a high confidence turning point for many markets. We like to look at financials, grains, precious metals. And because the new moon occurred in the sign of Aquarius, we'll be looking at copper. Then also over that weekend, we had Uranus turning direct. That's the opposite of retrograde. If you want any help on these technical terms, give me a call. I'll give you a free class explaining all this stuff. And then we have and by the way, all these points apply to the stock market because the stock market is the big basket of everything, whereas commodities tend to be narrow filters and only tend to respond to certain signs and certain planets. So we had Uranus in the sign of Taurus the bull, and that's cattle and copper and cotton. And yeah, I'm having a little trouble with my mouse. Sorry about that. And then we got to go to Mercury. We have a Mercury cycle. On the next weekend, we had a Mercury cycle. Anytime we have Mercury, we have the grains and the corn, soybeans, wheat. And then we had Jupiter to the U.S. chart. So there we go. And here's the corn chart. We had two windows for corn. We had the moon and had Mercury. There's the moon window. You took a little heat on the first day, but that went down and made the low of the month. And then we went back up to our Mercury window there on the morning of the 30th. And that was a nice top there for a short-term top on corn. The beans, we went 2 out of 2. Green is good, and red is a miss. On the beans, we went down to a low here on our moon window, and then we diddled around for a day or two, and then we went up into now here we were close to a top here, but unfortunately, I don't want you risking too much money, and this was too much drawdown here. I felt it was like 30 cents on soybeans. That's about $1,500 if you sold there, so I had to call that a miss, even though you're only a day ahead of that high. So and the wheat, kind of the same deal here. We had the nice moon window there. We rallied up, but then when the market turned on the Mercury window, the market only went sideways, so you did not have a chance to make any money there. Cattle going choppy, whippy, just off of a low there, and so we called that a yellow is a pass. It's going kind of sideways, not a clear signal. Cotton was a clear signal. It was going up, up, up. That's what we like to see. A strong trending market tends to reverse on these points. So there we go. If you sold there, you had a short-term top there on the cotton. You had a chance to make some money. That was about 3 cents, which is good. I'll make it 2 cents, which was good for each penny is $500. So that's about $1,000. Here we had two indications for the weekend of the 20th window for copper, and you can see there you made a bit of a short-term top there on the copper. Every penny in copper is worth $250. Here's silver was very good. It rallied right into the moon and then had a nice drop, big drop. And so yeah, it was obviously a winner. And here's gold. Oh, there it is. There's the window. Same thing for the gold. Not as good as the silver, but you still had a chance to make some money there. Then the S&P, stock market responds to all four of these points, well, potentially. And so we had that. If you sold there, took a little heat, and then it finally went down 2 days later for a nice winner. Then we went back up and made a little top here on the next window for 2 more points. Here's the bonds. The bonds were nice, dropped into our moon window and our U.S. window over here. And you rallied from that one and from that one. And you had a chance to make some money on both of those. And here's the dollar dropped into the moon And here's the U.S. Jupiter point right there for a top, just ahead of that top there before a big drop on the dollar. So here we go. We had 17 winners, 2 misses out of 19 for 89.47%. Here's maybe some of you have heard of the Bradley Index model, where he quantifies the planets. I started doing that back in the 70s and rebuilt the Bradley there. I think it's better model. And you can see I do the blue line in advance. This was for January, and I did the blue line in advance, a week or two in advance of January, and then we overlay the S&P 500 10-minute bars on top of that to see how it's going. If you go over these different astrological points here, like there's Mars turning direct, you made a short-term top there. You had Mercury turning direct, you made a short-term top there, and so forth. And here we go with the moon right on top of that short-term top there. So there we go. There's a whole class right on that chart there. Okay. Now we're moving ahead. I'm going to jump over the forecasts for just a minute to show you the fractals for last year for the Dow Jones. And I know you folks like the stock market. So there we go. I forecast the market for the whole year in the month of February based on what happened in January. And you can see we were looking, the blue bars were the forecast for the year. And then at the end of the year, I overlay the black bars for their actual prices so you can see what the correlation was. There, we're looking for a high there. You got a high there. Looking for a high there. We got the high there. Looking for a low here, and you got the big low in October. And then rallying up. And we occasionally get an inversion there, and that right there, we're looking for a low there, and that turned out to be a top. But that's okay. When we get to that point, you look at it, you see the market's rallying, and we got that turning point. So then you just adjust to it and figure that that's a top rather than a bottom. So now I'm going to go back up here to my astro forecast, if my computer will cooperate. And there we go. And there we go. Here's what's coming up. So this afternoon, we had Mercury at perihelion. That's when Mercury's at its closest point in its 88-day cycle. And then we have this weekend, we have 2 points. We have something to the U.S. chart. So we look at U.S. stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. And then we also have a new moon in the sign of Pisces at perigee, again, the new moon's at its closest point in its cycle. And that'll be it for another 14 months when those two things line up. And we'll be looking at financials, grains, precious metals, and oil because it's in Pisces. Okay, so there we go. Now we're moving ahead. And here's my bio. I've been doing this a long, long time. Started trading based on astrology back in the early 70s when I was in college. Made enough money to buy a membership on the Chicago Board Options Exchange, 1975. Studied all the stuff that's listed here: Gann, Elliott Wave, astrophysics, astrology, music cycles, Fibonacci. If it's rooted in nature, I probably have studied it. And so looking forward to helping some of the folks there. Here's my contact information. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida. 239-216-2578 is my telephone. You can email me at nwinski@yahoo.com or call me on Skype at nwinski_1. Looking forward to helping some of the folks there, Jeff. Everybody have a great week.
Norm, you're very consistent. That's a great track record. And one of your misses actually was a miss just because, not of the date, but of the price. So that was really great. Norm, we'll see you back in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Bye.